Right, layer 2, let's get into this thing. Not gonna waste any time at all. Layer 2, SAKTK Iceberg, right now, here we go. I'm recording this as soon as I finish the last part, hence why I jumped out of nowhere. Yeah. The Way Out. The Way Out is a classic SAKTK Easter egg that has been in the game since nearly the beginning. To get the badge, simply go back from the main area, enter the small soldier hangar on the left of the exit, jump down the trapdoor, and you'll find yourself in a small, dark, ominous room along with a pop-up reading "Game Over." From here, simply walk into the "You Are Trapped" sign and you'll find yourself in a tunnel. Jump over a couple of pits of death and a few very easy to avoid spikes, and you'll reach the end. Bam, boom, you're done. Although this badge used to be really annoying to get, nowadays it's super easy to obtain. Like, almost too easy. You can get it in like 30 seconds with a YouTube tutorial. It's not really known why the Way Out was added into the game in the first place, or why it's even still in the game. It doesn't really seem to fit with anything else in SAKTK, but hey, it's still here. SAKTK 2. SAKTK 2 is or was a fan-made Area 51 game that was created by Homo Mafia 1's friend Portala 1, now known as SB Portala, as an unofficial sequel to SAKTK. What set SAKTK 2 apart from the main game was having a huge map with various locations, many different types of killers, and all different references and hidden Easter eggs here and there. Around the time that SAKTK 2 came out, I think around 2016 or 2017, the main game, or SAKTK 1, was still pretty much a baby. I mean, there really wasn't much to the game, so of course SAKTK 2 attracted a large audience to it. Most notably the people who found, the main game boring, it didn't have many updates, wasn't getting updates. Wow, things haven't changed at all in the past 7 years. However, as the months went past and SAKTK ultimately got better with the addition of new modes, killer pathfinding, and overall a gameplay experience that was just more enjoyable than SAKTK 2's and less buggy, the game would eventually be set to private by SB Portala sometime around 2017 or 2018, effectively shutting down all access to it. But that's not the end of SAKTK 2's legacy. Things get a bit messy around this point, but here's how the story goes. Sometime during the shutdown, SB Portala handed over the game files to a guy named General Punctuation to be SAKTK 2's new owner and creator, and the game was republished, although this didn't hold up forever. And of course, through many Roblox updates and changes, SAKTK 2 eventually broke beyond repair, and sees only a few players visit it each day, compared to normal SAKTK's massive player count. SAKTK 2 is a perfect example of where you try and push quantity over quality in a game, and due to the lack of updates, it ultimately falls beyond fixing it. And although I will praise the ideas the game has going for it, and I did make a standalone video on SAKTK 2 a while ago, at this point it's just another piece of SAKTK's bizarre history, and nothing more. I'll leave a link to the re-uploaded game in the description because, well, some of the stuff in the game is quite creative and definitely worth a play. Hate and Rage. Hate and Rage are the two substances that possess and control the boss Aberration and her corrupted one minions, the black stuff being hate and the red glowy stuff being rage. According to Subatomic Sam, the creator of Aberration and the corrupted ones, hate is the substance that gives them life, while rage is the substance that quote-unquote gives them purpose. It's not really known what Sam meant by this. Does hate enable the killers to control rage? Does rage give hate the ability to be controlled? I don't know, it's still a mystery, and we don't really have enough evidence in-game to explain any of these theories. However, there is also a paper, known as Paper 12, within the Wendigo area computer room that goes more in-depth into the backstory of hate and rage, referring to Aberration as Subject B, and how the effects of hate are supposed to wear off after 14 months. Due to how SAKTK is most likely set years after Area 51 was abandoned and how Aberration is still being possessed with hate after we fight her in boss rush mode, I'd say it's pretty good evidence that rage was created to prolong the effects of hate. But why was it created? And who created it? Well, that's still a mystery. The Storming Aliens. The ultimate secret is one of the most well-known badges in classic mode. Find the randomly generated 5-digit number around the map, put that code into the code machine, and bam, you find the alien killer and get a neat little badge for your troubles. Again, just like the Way Out, we probably all know how to get this badge. I mean, it is required for the Area 51 personnel achievement after all, and I'm sure many of you have probably got that by now, so there really is nothing special going on here. What's interesting about the Ultimate Secret badge though is its description, stating that the alien is the first ever killer of Area 51. And well, that can't be true because Alien doesn't appear in Storming. And of course, if you've seen my timeline video, is that Storming is the first mode in the SAKTK story. Well, okay, good aliens appear in Storming, but they never attack you like they do in Classic mode. But it's not really known why the alien appears in Classic mode and not Storming mode. I mean, clearly we freed all of the aliens within, Storming mode. We didn't miss any rooms that we didn't enter, so why does the alien appear in Classic mode? Well, nobody really knows, bit of a continuity error right there. Little side note here, but a lot of people don't know this, but it's explained within Alien's case file that the reason why Alien is hostile in Classic mode and not Storming mode is because Alien in Classic mode has been brainwashed by a Russian spy during the Cold War. I don't know, it's two conflicting sides. You can either agree with the badge that the alien is the first killer and that it was missed during Area 51 Storming, or you can go against it, but it's certainly something to think about. Grisly Reminder. This entry refers to the original main menu music that was in SAKTK before the 3 tracks we mentioned earlier were made to replace it in early 2022. The song that was used was known as Grisly Reminder by Midnight Syndicate, and the main reason why it was changed was as a response to Roblox itself nuking many copyrighted songs off its marketplace. And although it's probably never going to be added back to the game sadly, it's still worth a listen if you're in for some nostalgia. Trust me, you can just find it on YouTube somewhere. The Vault. The Vault is a small room found in the prison area of the map, and can be opened with the use of the keycard item found nearby in most of the other modes. And ever since the room was added alongside the Endless Survival update in late 2018, people have been asking for some type of killer to spawn inside it, since in both Classic and Killer mode there's nothing present at all within the Vault. And I mean, it's not difficult to see why. I mean, why does the Vault exist anyway? Why is it in the prison of all places? Maybe it holds a prisoner inside? I don't really know. Like, why would you put a vault in a prison? That's kind of the last place that you'd want to store valuables, next to loads of criminals and stuff. Or maybe the prison is for, like killers. That'd be kind of cool, actually. Eventually, though, the vault was given a purpose. In Endless Survival, the R870 spawns inside of it. Yay! Oh well, all we can do now is keep praying, I suppose. Maybe one day. Soft locking the Juggernaut. There's a strategy within SAKTK Juggernaut that you can do as a survivor that, if done correctly, completely soft locks the game and makes it near impossible for the Juggernaut to win. This strategy involves either waiting in the main hall or cargo area until you spot the Juggernaut, run away from the Juggernaut in a circle around both locations and closing the doors behind you so the Juggernaut can never effectively reach you until the time runs out. Yeah, this strategy is as unfair and horrible as it sounds. And trust me, it happens to me all the time. In fact, that's why I stick to small servers in Juggernaut nowadays. Whenever I go into a large server, I become Leatherface as Juggernaut, I kill everyone, but there's always that one guy that sits in the cargo area and runs around the main area and the cargo area like 50 times in a row, and I can't win because the Juggernaut just isn't fast enough. The Juggernaut still needs a speed buff, okay? Just buff the Juggernaut speed. It would fix everyone's problems. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some ways to counter these methods, such as closing the doors behind you as Juggernaut, or maybe the survivor can make a mistake and close the door on themselves, but you usually have to get lucky or have a ton of skill to get these nailed down. But yeah, if you're playing Juggernaut mode at the moment, just don't do this. Thanks, you're doing the game a great deal of good, You could sit in the cargo area, wait for the Juggernaut, but just don't run around the area 50 million times, it just slows down the game. Fan art. Fan art has been a staple of SAKTK since basically the beginning. The game's thumbnails use fan art, and you can find fan art pictures around the map. There's not really too much more to this entry besides this fact. I'm just glad the devs and Homer appreciate the work that people go into drawing characters for the game. And hey, fun fact, I draw this Sonic fan art in 2019. It's gross and ugly, and I wish someone replaced it, but hey, it's in the game, I guess. Killer gender. Now, we all know that most of the kills within SAKTK have confirmed genders. Like most of the killers taken from the media, like Michael Myers, Granny, Slenderman, those are obvious. But there are some that are more obscure and aren't confirmed, like Alien, the Kraken, Zombie, and possibly even Wendigo I've seen be referred to as a she. Although this could just be down to an oversight, like in Alien's case file, he's referred to as an it and a he. I don't know, again, doesn't really matter, you make up your own mind on these. Survive in Area 51. Survive in Area 51 is another Area 51 game created by the developer Penguin Doc 9999. It focuses more on the weirder side of Area 51, adding strange new dimensions, unique killers, and challenges with an entirely original map. And it's in the background of my videos all the time. See, right there. I actually made an entire video about Survive in Area 51. That will explain why there is a black and white image of the game. Just chilling there forever. It will always be in my room. for as long as I do YouTube. In fact, Penguin Doc even asked HomeMafia1 if he could make the game. Also, he commented on my video, so that's epic. But yeah, if you're looking for an Area 51 game that updates more often than SAKTK and has a cool community, then maybe this Area 51 game is for you. Go give it a play, link in description. Back to regular SAKTK for the rest of this iceberg though, I promise. Zombie spawning mechanics. Most of the kills within Classic and Endless mode in SAKTK only spawn one for each. For example, there can only be one Slenderman alive at a time, one Wendigo, one Jason, etc. But there's one killer that follows different rules to all of these. That one being the zombie, in where up to 3 of them are allowed to be alive at any one time. Even in Endless mode there can be up to 3 of them, 5 if you include the Captain Zombie minions. I think this mostly comes down to the lore behind zombies. I mean, in the case file for the zombie, it explains how the zombies are like infected employees. You know, of course there's going to be more than one. What's it? Infection only infect one guy. But if they are infected employees, how can the previously mentioned Captain Zombie pull them out of thin air? Well, nobody really knows why. But what's certain is that the zombies are unique when it comes to spawning properties. The Raygun Parkour. The Raygun Parkour is a removed location that could be found at the end of the mineshaft area in previous versions of the game. The location displayed a set of bricks, forming a parkour area in which when the player reached the top, they could get the ray gun. Of course, now this gun location has been switched with the MP5K gun location, and the parkour has been replaced with a simple elevator. I'm actually really glad this change was made. Sure, the ray gun was OP, but was it really worth the whole parkour segment? I don't think so. But putting in the radioactive area though, probably wasn't a good idea. Humans vs Zombies. I briefly mentioned this earlier on the iceberg, but Humans vs Zombies is another game that was made and created by HomeMafia1, around the same time he was still working on SAKTK. It's a round-based game, which puts, of course, you guessed it, the humans versus the zombies. It does also share many similarities with SAKTK though, such as the art style and the background ambiance is the same. I'm not going to go too in-depth into Humans vs Zombies here, since it doesn't really have much to do with SAKTK, and it's not being developed by Homer anymore, but if you want to check it out, I'll leave a link in the description. Beneath the Surface. Speaking of Homer's old games, another pretty famous one is Beneath the Surface, an Area 51 story game completely separate from SAKTK. Yeah, even before storming was a thing. Like the SAKTK 2 game we mentioned just a bit ago, Beneath the Surface is very much broken. Like, so broken you can't even beat the game. Yeah, the end cutscene just breaks. The story of Beneath the Surface revolves around you being trapped in Area 51, being tormented by the same alien that you can find in SAKTK being held in Rake's spawning room, and honestly it's pretty cool seeing what we'd assume to be a background character given a new life. The game is also pretty weird, like it kinda just does whatever it feels like doing, that being random ghosts appearing out of nowhere, big holes to the void for no reason, and the laser stage. Although I'd say it's worth playing Beneath the Surface at least once. It's a step back in time for sure, but nothing beyond that I'd say, it's not that special. The Voltage Room. The Voltage Room is another mysterious room within Area 51 that, unlike the Execution Room that we touched on earlier in the iceberg, appears in all of the modes of the game. Well, all modes located in Area 51, yeah, haha, trying to be smart are we? The only thing that you'll find in the Voltage Room though, is of course some kind of electricity machine that, if you turn it on, instantly kills any player or killer that walks into it. There's also a separate button to open and close the translucent door that leads into the machine. Like the Execution Room though, nobody really knows why the Voltage Room exists in the first place, what lore it holds in the game, and why you'd ever want to go there in any of the modes. I mean, its whole function is to just kill you. Like, why is that a benefit? But obviously it has some reason to be here. It's even a gun location in Juggernaut, but whatever that proper reason may be is shrouded in mystery, at least for the time being. Out of Bounds and Anti-Cheat. Yes, SAKTK does actually have an anti-cheat system, and although many people may not know how it works or the full capabilities of it, one pretty well-known way to stop exploiters and hackers is that if you go out of bounds in any SAKTK mode, you'll be instantly killed. The best way to test this out is by squishing yourself via a door, and believe it or not, it's actually very easy to glitch out of bounds, it's not even funny. There's also a secondary anti-cheat system within the game where if someone gets banned from SAKTK by like an admin script or something, they'll just get stuck on an infinitely looping main menu screen. Yeah, I'm not joking, it's a real thing that's in the game right now. On top of this, there are also a couple of moderators for the game, who regularly look for exploiters within servers, especially in Killer Mode and Juggernaut Mode, as they're the competitive modes. So yeah, I think it's safe to say that SAKTK has a pretty good anti-cheat system, compared to other Roblox games, I'd say. However, if you ever do find an exploit that happened to get under the radar, I suggest going over to the SAKTK Discord and reporting them via the Exploit Reports channel. Trust me, it works pretty well, and basically all hackers end up getting banned who are reported there. Speedrun mode. Speedrun mode is an alternative way to playing SAKTK, and as many of you probably know by now, within the SAKTK settings menu, there's an option that allows you to turn on speedrun mode by inputting your speedrunning API key. Although I don't have access to the feature myself, this menu allows you to toggle disabling game passes, toggle the Area 51 personnel checklist pop out, and finally the whole mode adds a trophy icon in the top right hand corner of your screen to prove that you are a speedrunner, of course. All of this stuff being added into the game was in response to SAKTK being accepted for runs by speedrun.com, a website where people can submit speedruns for all sorts of games. I honestly think this is really cool, and even if the feature isn't available for absolutely everyone, it's still enjoyable to watch SAKTK speedruns every once in a while out of sheer boredom. Killer Mutant Glitch. This entry refers to a rare glitch that can happen within Killer Mode exclusively. Typically at the start of the round, it's caused by two people selecting the same killer at the exact same time with the use of the Killer Choice Game Pass. When this happens, both of the killers get stuck inside one another, forming a mutant if you will. As cool as this sounds, it's really not that special. In fact, it's incredibly annoying to come across. Not only are the movements of the killer completely screwed up and can't be controlled properly by either player, but even resetting will not form a respawn. The only way to fix this glitch is if both players are killed by a survivor, or you jump into the fan. Now, I'm no expert on SAKTK's mechanics and how to fix glitches or anything like that, but I'm guessing this glitch occurs because, well, the game gets confused on who's controlling the killer since you're both stuck in the same body or something like that, and when you reset, it doesn't actually know that you've reset or something like that. I don't know, it could be like a Roblox thing for all I know. There was also a similar bug in the game at one point which, if done correctly, allowed you to spawn on the surface as a killer. But of course, unlike the Killer Mutant glitch, this one has since been patched. Hexavilius. Hexavilius is a former SAKTK developer that was responsible for a lot of the visual assets within many of the SAKTK updates over the past 2 years or so, such as images like the badge icons and a lot of buildings and models within the game, such as the sewer and Wendigo areas respectively. He also contributed massively to the development of the upcoming update Sector 2, which we'll talk about a bit later. However, notice how I said former SAKTK developer, as on March the 12th, 2023, Hexavilius would sadly step down from the SAKTK team due to developer inactivity, mismanagement of the game, drama in the SAKTK Discord, and just overall burnout, stress, and personal issues. As for my thoughts on this, I fully support the guy, and I'm sure stepping down or choosing to step down from the SAKTK team was not easy for Hex, and that's why I wish him the best of luck on whatever passion he strives for next. Hex, if you're watching, I hope you're doing better now. And there we go, that is part 2 of this 5-part series finally done and dusted. Yeah, pretty cool layer, I think. A lot of really good stuff on this one. But yeah, I'll try and get part 3 out as soon as I possibly can. Part 3 is the biggest layer or tier, so it's going to take a while to edit, but I'll try and get it out as soon as possible. Hopefully between the same time frame of part 1 and part 2, although it might be a bit longer, again, because it's a bigger layer. But yeah, until then, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.